Excited to be back in this area. So I wanted to share with you that the handout that's in the back, it gives you the web address to go to this wiki. And the way that we did it was so that when you go there, all of the presentations that have been given over the last year or so, I've included on this website. So there's tons and tons and tons of apps, as well as when you go to collected iPad resources, it's everything that I've collected over the last couple of years that are just phenomenal resources. And the one that's down here that says the best social skills in autism spectrum disorder application, they're not lying, that's the best. That's a really good one. So just wanted to let you know that that's available to you. And all of the presentations that are here are slightly different, so that way you get a taste of lots of different things. All right, so I'm the assistant principal at the Krieger School, Montgomery County campus. I taught kids with autism spectrum disorders for about 20 years. I'm from the Krieger School, and our program is a non-public placement, serves over 430 students with complex learning and behavior disorders. And I just wanted to take a second to kind of get to know who you guys are. So how many of you are parents? Okay, and then professionals or classroom teachers? Okay, awesome. All right. So I don't know where you are in your iPad journey, but one of the things that when we first took on using iPads with our students, one of the things that we were probably most apprehensive about was how were they going to take to them. And we worked with some students that behaviorally were a little challenging, and if they were throwing notebooks, would they be throwing our iPads and that sort of thing. So I thought it was pretty important to just throw in this very beginning slide, and all of these resources are on the site as well, that we used a pretty extensive training program with the students initially to work with them on what the expected behaviors were on using the iPad safely, what they would be allowed to do and not allowed to do, so versus the expected behaviors, also what the drop-dead rules were going to be as well. These things will never happen. And then we always make sure that we're providing a schedule when we're using the iPads with the students so that makes the transition from a highly preferred activity to a less preferred activity go off a little more flawlessly. So it is nice to let the kids know that you're going to do what I need you to do for a little bit of time, and then you'll have time to just play with the iPad. So that's a really important part, and I didn't want to not include that if you guys were if anybody was at the beginning of their iPad journey. So one of the things that I usually do is I flip back and forth between the slides and then the apps, but I wasn't sure that was going to run smoothly here today, so what I planned on doing is just running through and then switching over and showing you the apps at the end. So we'll just quickly run through some of the slides, and then I'll show you the apps towards the end. So first up are the resource apps, and this, I could not live without this resource. It's called Apple Learning. It's a free app, and what's really nice about it is you can kind of see it's broken down into the 4 areas, and then when you click on an area, it scrolls through lots of different domains that you can choose from. So it really lets you tailor what kind of app you're looking for, and with having the 4 different areas, it does sort of give you the ability to say, even though my kiddo is in a middle school situation, he might be functioning more of an early childhood kind of level, so I can make sure that I am picking apps that are more appropriate for him. What's nice about this app site, what I really like, is it's really difficult, surprisingly, to find apps that are going to target or hit what you want. You would think it would be easier, but the Apple website or the iTunes website is not very friendly. If you've played with it, you know. You can't just put in there what you want and it'll shoot back exactly what you're looking for. And I always find that kind of a bummer. So what's really nice about this is that you don't get stuck in the iTunes thing of having to download the app, use it, and then decide that you don't like it. So this website gives you the ability to look at a few different areas. It looks at why they love the app, and they being, there's a panel of experts that you can spend some time on the app. It's kind of cool. The panel of experts are a bunch of people across domains, across fields, So that's kind of a new thing to have these many people collaborating. So what it does, it tells you why they love the app, and then it goes on to talk about what it teaches and how it works, and then why kids can't put it down. So that's kind of a neat thing, and it lets you have that ahead of time so that you're able to kind of gauge whether or not it's something you would be interested in looking into. And then from there I find it easy to then just go into like Google and put the app in there so you can get further information on it. Yeah?
Can you discuss what those 4 categories are, because you can't really read some.
Early childhood, elementary school, middle, and high. And then if you scroll down through here, there's all, and we'll see, I'll show you a quick little glimpse of the app in a little while. But there are different areas like social skills, autism, those sorts of things. So apps that are particular, specifics for each category, which is really nice. Another one that is a great one to have is Apps Gone Free. This every day gives you about 5 or 6, I believe, apps that are usually pretty high-priced apps that are free for a short period of time. It's a really nice way of being able to go on and look at an app that maybe you thought, I don't know that I can afford $8.99 times 20. So, it's a nice way to be able to look at it and see if it's worth the price. It's not as nice as Apple Learning, obviously, because you can't pick what you want. You just kind of have to take what you're given. But I have found quite a few apps on here that were really super nice. So those are the 2 that I absolutely adore. And then the list that I showed you that are on the wiki, those have been fantastic as well to narrow down some of our purchases and find things that were most appropriate for our students. Another reason to go to Starbucks, though, is that I don't know if you guys have seen these. When you go to Starbucks, they offer the free app of the week, and we found a few that way as well. So it's kind of a neat thing, and I always make sure that I look when I'm at Starbucks if their app cards out, because there are some pretty good ones there. Okay, so now I'm just going to highlight the favorite apps that we use at our school with our students, and you can kind of get an idea of where we're coming from. The Social Express, and this is a very high-priced app, $90, $89.99. It is really worth it. It's fantastic. The cool thing about this app is that they do offer a light version, so that's free. You only have a little bit of content, not the full range of content, obviously. But you might be able to hit it and at least see whether or not this is something that your students would really take to, so that you could decide whether that would be a purchase you'd want to make. For us, it was a purchase we made in our speech department. It's on one of our iPads, and we have it so that we can use it with all of our students. But obviously, it's cost prohibitive to put it on many. But it's great, and it is one of the ones that I was going to show you today. Story Creator. This is another free app, and what's great about this one is it gives you the ability to make social stories or have students navigate through their day and be able to create a video for themselves where they either include pictures or videos or whatever. They can make a whole story and put it out on a storyboard. The neat part about it too is that you can email it to parents or email it to whoever, so it's kind of a neat way to be able to share a student's thoughts or day with across lots of different people. And it's very, very easy to use. And I'll show you a couple neat features about that one later when we get there. Okay, by far, this is my favorite app that I've ever found. This app is called Sosh. They do have a light version. You can only use it for 7 days, and then they force you to buy it. We will definitely go through this one. It is extremely multi-layered, but it's sort of like, for a student with autism, it's like having a manual to the day. You're able to sort of understand what's going on, give yourself reminders, self-monitor behaviors, use social skills, strategies, all different kinds of things. So I'll show it to you later, but it is well worth the $39.99 and recommend it highly. It's a fantastic app. Okay, Kids Journal. This is a free one, and we're always looking for ways to get students to write a little bit more readily, and they seem to really like this one. It's another one that I'll show you today. What's neat about it is that they can choose how are they feeling, where were they that day, what was the weather. They can add a picture of their day if they'd like, and then they can write a little bit about their day. again, what's nice about it is that they can email it to whoever, and you can email it just a day, or you can say, at the end of the month, I'm gonna email the parents the whole month, or I'm gonna email whoever the whole month. So it's really kind of a neat app to have. The kids have really, really taken to this one. So this one's a really good one, and especially considering that it's free. So, Puppet Pals, another fantastic app. This one, it will be easier shown than talked about, but it is a way that students, a lot of times our guys have a difficult time demonstrating their understanding or their comprehension of material. This gives them a different medium to do that, and they really enjoy being able to put on a show. You can then use Puppet Pals and transfer that over to, I'm sure you've all heard of iMovie, and then students can make long movies of different things over time. So it's kind of a neat thing, and a lot of times they really enjoy seeing a movie that they've created, and it's very, very easy to use, extremely user-friendly. I've given it to students all over the spectrum, and they've been able to figure it out pretty easily on their own. But there's also, on the website that I showed you in the beginning, there are step-by-step tips for many of these apps on how to use them and then how to transfer them over to iMovie so that you'll be able to figure out how to do that pretty quickly. Draw Stickman. This is a fantastic free app as well. They have lots of different versions. So what you do at the beginning of the app is you draw a Stickman, and it can be as exciting or as basic as you'd like it to be. And then the Stickman goes through lots of different adventures. He animates, and he goes through lots of different adventures. So, for instance, the first thing that happens to him is that a box drops out of from the top of the screen, and he's just standing there. And so they say, oh, quick, draw a key so that we can get into the box. It gives you the opportunity. It pauses it out nicely enough that there's a lot of opportunities for language. So you can talk about, why do we need a key? What does a key look like? What do you think the key is going to do? What's going to be in the box? So making predictions, those sort of things. And then once you get to different adventures within the Stickman adventure, there's lots of problem solving that comes up as well. So that's kind of a neat thing, and you can work on lots of things sort of in a back way. So that's kind of a nice one. Bitsboard Pro is a really great app for students that would be doing a lot of discrete trial type of instruction or one-to-one instruction. Sort of brings flashcards to life and does it in a lot of different ways. So what's kind of neat about it is you can do word matching, you can play bingo, you can have the students spell out words using tiles. It has like a true or false section, like this is, like you can see, that's yellow, no it's not yellow, so yes or no. Touching on different photos, so like a receptive identification, and you can increase or decrease the field as much as you would like. So it's completely customizable, and that's really nice because a lot of times you want to be able to embed the prompts or be able to make the field larger or smaller, and it does give you the availability to do that. So that's a great app for that. Okay, Paperport Notes, another free app. This is a great way. A lot of the students have a hard time with writing. They don't, as soon as you hand them a ditto or a worksheet, it's immediately aversive. They don't want to do it, it's no fun. But as soon as you put it on the iPad, all of a sudden the same thing becomes exciting. I'm not really sure what it holds inside there, but it is exciting. So if you scan in your worksheets into Paperport, and then you're able to annotate right on top of it, so that you don't need to have the actual worksheet. So it makes things a little greener, and the students really do like it. It also has a function on it for dictation, so you can tap and speak. You can see that over there. It's not as sensitive as maybe like a Dragon Speak or something, a program sort of like that, but it's pretty good when we've played with it, and it's figured out some pretty tricky stuff. So that's kind of nice for the students that want to write or have ideas, but they can't write as quickly as their brain is thinking. So that's a really great app, and it's free. Skitch. This is a really fun one, and we did a lot of really cool things with this. So especially during, and this app attaches to a larger program called Evernote, but it is a standalone. So Skitch, what it can do is if you go around and you take pictures. So let's say we're working on a geometry unit, for instance, and we're gonna talk about circles. And what we want to work on circumference. So you could go around and you could find pictures, the kids could go around on sort of a scavenger hunt, find pictures of, or take pictures of things that are circular, whether it be the clock, whether it be me going like this, whatever the situation is. Then you can come back, import the picture into Sketch, and then you can draw on the picture. This was a really fun classroom activity when we were doing things like perimeter or area, or all, it's endless, the things you could do with it. But they really didn't want to talk about perimeter or area when it was on a worksheet. But as soon as we were, doing the perimeter of Ms. Deidre's lunchbox, then all of a sudden it was fun. Right. So, we did it on there, and then I was able to draw on it as we went, which was really nice. If you don't have the availability to have one-to-one iPads for your students or for your kids or whatever your situation is, this little cord that you can see here, this white cord, makes a world of difference. You're able to use one iPad to project just like I am here. So even if you only have your iPad and you think, gosh, I wish I could do all of these things, but I only have one iPad in my classroom, you can do all of these things. You just need to get that cord. $50 is a lot better than $600. Mm-hmm. So if you have this cord, you are able to project the things and use them like this. And of course, the students can't interact with it up here, but they can come up and interact with it on your iPad, and then it would be projected up here for the other kids to see. So this is a really great app for free. Stack the states. They also have Stack the countries, in case you were wondering. This one is really neat for kids. We had a lot of kids that were really into geography and that sort of thing. So it really kind of is a perseveration app, but it's also a cool learning tool as well. So it asks them, the shapes of the states, and it asks them trivia questions about the states, where they're located, that sort of thing. And then they have to stack them up. And once they get to this line, then they get their own free state. So they're trying to collect the 50 states. What's really kind of cool about it is there's lots of different language things that you can do too, because you have to turn the states around to make them stay on top of one another and that sort of thing. So there's a lot you can do with that app, and they really enjoy it. So I just wanted to take the time to mention that one. Raz Kids, if you have the program Reading A to Z. Reading A to Z is a fantastic program, especially with the Common Core these days. It makes it a lot easier to align your reading instruction to grade level. So Raz Kids does all kinds of, Reading A to Z and Learning A to Z products overall do some really nice things. They have a writing app, they have a writing program, a science program, and a reading program. And they have an offshoot of this, which is called Raz Kids, which the kids can do on the computer, but they also have an app for it. What's really neat about this is that you can choose the child's level, their independent reading level, and they can work through these tasks on their iPad or on the computer, either way. And it keeps the data for you, which is invaluable. It allows them the opportunity to explore lots of different books, but the books that you have clicked on for them to explore. And then they have, so they have access to the book room, like I was saying, and then whatever their assignment is. There's also, I thought I'd put the screen on here, but I didn't. They get to earn stars to build this Raz rocket and this little alien, and I would have really thought that it wouldn't have been that exciting, but for whatever reason, it really was. And what's neat about it is that you're able to give the students extra stars and that sort of thing, write them little notes, so when they're working at home and they log on, they're able to get those extra stars and use them to build their Raz rockets, and that's pretty reinforcing to them to keep going. So it is a really neat thing because they can do it at home or at school. And overall, I don't think that the program itself is very expensive. It might be like $80 for a year for Reading A to Z, but that's pretty good. Well, it's relative, but it's pretty good. And then you have the access to Raz Kids as well, so that's kind of a neat one. All right, Math Doodles. This is a great site, or a great app, because it's a really neat site, or a neat app. When you go to it, it's very visually appealing, and it's just a neat way to do math. And I'll show it to you so that it'll be a little bit clearer. But it gives you the opportunity to do lots of different calculation, but in sort of a problem-solving way. And it gives you the opportunity to use lots of different things as counters, so things that the kids really like. They really have enjoyed this one, and they've also enjoyed this one, Symmetry Shuffle, was made by the same developer. And this one works on things like transformation slides, flips, turns, that sort of thing. So again, it can be a language situation, but also a math-related activity. But there's lots of different things that they can slide, flip, and turn. And there's lots of different levels to this and lots of different things that the app does. But it's a really good one, and it's pretty inexpensive for what it does. Grandpa's Workshop. This is an awesome one. So this one does measuring. It does fractions at a very basic level. So I think it's just fourths, thirds, halves, maybe sixths, but it doesn't go up very far. And then it also, so this is for the student that obviously is really involved or excited about tools. So you do some measuring there. It'll ask you lots of different questions in sort of like I don't want to say it's drill and practice because it's not that fast. It's more of a conversational feel to it, but you're talking to Granddad throughout the whole thing. And so he's giving you different things to do. You might be painting his project. He might show you a field of 5 tools and ask you to hand him the pliers. All different sorts of activities that they'll have you do. But then the neat thing is that every so often, after you've selected a new tool that's probably new to you, maybe pliers is something you weren't really familiar with, it shows you a little video of what you would use pliers for, which is kind of neat. And then the positive feedback part is neat too, because you have to give Grandpa a high five, and it's kind of cool. So, so that's kind of a neat app. GeoBoard, I'm sure you guys have used these at some point in your own education or with students in some way. But this is a really fun one to be able to work on making shapes. You could use it for perimeter. You could use it for a lot of different math types of concepts. But what's neat about it is that you can change the colors of all of it. And it's just kind of nice to have these sorts of things that are free and easy, and it does save a lot of money than having to buy all of the manipulatives. And for whatever reason, as soon as you put it on this iPad, they love it. So it's a really neat app, and it's a lot of fun to play with. It's been a fave. Color tiles and manipulatives, that's the same way. It's a neat one. Instead of having to have 8 million blocks to do area or shapes or any of those sorts of things, this is a really neat one to have because you can make worksheets and they can do them right on there and answer right on there for you. So it's a really nice app that you can kind of play with and make it be exactly what you want it to be for a number of different areas. iMovie, we talked about it a little bit earlier. It's $4.99, well worth the price for it, not necessarily for every iPad, because that would get cost prohibitive if you were doing it across a large amount of iPads. But if you were just using it at home, or if you were using it in a classroom, if you had a few, that would be a good idea. It's very easy for kids to use. For whatever reason, it's extremely more intuitive to them than it is to us. So they've had an easy time putting together some of their projects that they've done from lots of different apps and bringing them all into iMovie and being able to sort of make a portfolio of their work, which has been a really cool thing. So and it gives them the opportunity to name it and to make it a movie, and it really looks like it's a cool thing when it's done. So that's been a good one. Halftone. A lot of kids like to see themselves comicized, or it's a neat way to, again, work on comprehension or conversation skills, or if you were working on things that are really abstract, like concepts like onomatopoeia, or whatever. You can work on those sorts of things through an app like this, and it makes it a lot more fun, and it makes it a lot more concrete. We had a really good time with this when we were doing like a poetry unit and that sort of thing, and they were able to sort of get some of the literary devices that they weren't able to get without it. Strip Designer does a very similar thing, but the neat thing about Strip Designer is that you could also use this to make visual schedules. It's sort of built so that it works really well. It gives you lots of different templates. So it's like 1 to 8 or whatever. So you can make them horizontally, you can make them vertically, and it's pretty easy to use. The students have enjoyed making their own schedules, and it's pretty easy, it's a pretty easy interface to use. And it's kind of neat that you have the ability to be able to use little models like this and that sort of thing. Okay, so here's a bunch of calming apps that have been, some are for calming purposes, but others have been found to be calming when that wasn't necessarily their intention. Fluidity is free, and I'm going to show you these because these are quick. Fluidity is a really cool app for just those times when you just have a few minutes of wait time or whatever, and it's kind of, you need to get some calm and dark kind of situations going on to calm down. So fluidity is really cool. It's like having a lava lamp that you can manipulate, which is really cool. Fluid, this one's really cool because you can put your own pictures behind it. So a preferred picture can go on the background and then you can play with the water around it, which is really kind of fun. So that's a really good one. Fireworks, obviously, if you're into fireworks, this is a great app. It's really cool. You control the fireworks. You control how many are happening at one time. You can control the colors, all of those things. Really a lot of fun. iZen, a lot of the kids have really liked having a Zen garden and have enjoyed doing that. You can manipulate the things that are in it, which is fun. So it's kind of a cool app. Pocket Pond, this is a fave. It's free. And over time, it will try to make you purchase things like fish food and stuff like that. But you can get away with not feeding the fish; they don't actually die. But you can add frogs and that sort of thing. It's kind of cool. But the kids really enjoy it because when you play with it, it is like being able to interact with the pond, and you can touch the fish, and they swim away from you, and it's a fun one. It's been a really reinforcing one at our school. We do a lot of yoga in the morning. Every morning before we kind of get started, we start off with yoga. And a lot of times, I mean, there's a lot of programs out there that are pretty cool, pretty easy, DVDs and Me Moves and stuff like that. But this one's really good because even though the kiddo is younger, so even if you have sort of older students, they don't seem to mind that the kiddo is younger because it's kind of a neat, visually cool app. But it makes the yoga poses really easy to see and really easy to do. And it shows it's sort of like a video modeling of yoga, which is really a neat way for the kids to learn how to do some of the calming strategies. So this one's proven to be a keeper. Doodle Find. This one can be calming, but I will say that I almost didn't put it in the calming area, but it's such a favorite that I wanted to include it. So I'll include it here, but it can be pretty high stakes, high pressure to find everything that it's asking you for. But it's a neat visual discrimination app. It's a fun follow directions app. It's a neat one. We found a lot of kids that didn't like kind of hanging out together were able to hang out with someone else when they had this as sort of the medium between them. So it asks you, it's sort of, I'm trying to remember the game that it's like. There was a game that, Picturica, that game that came out like few years ago, and the whole idea is to find certain things and be the first one to find it kind of thing. There's no first one to find it thing, but there is a, you're trying to find 5 cookies or whatever, and you only have a certain amount of time to do it within, which is kind of cool. And what's also cool about it is that it works on generalizing what the term is. So the cookie might be green, it also might be pink, it might be, so not all cookies are green, not all socks are blue. So it's kind of a neat thing. So our kids have really enjoyed that one. Wimmel Fun Fair. Anything made by this company, Wimmel, has been a hit, has been proven to be a hit. Really kind of cool the way the artist draws. It just it really draws you in. I can assume it's Wimmel, that's the artist. But it's really cool. Again, it's another app, sort of like a Where's Waldo type of situation. But again, another one that's been really good for getting kids that didn't really want to talk or hang out together. They enjoy looking for the things, and it's not timed, but you're kind of looking for the things together, which is a lot of fun. And you have to move the screen to find the things, so that's been kind of a cool thing too. All right, so another thing that we did that was really super cool, or that we've been doing with the kids, is we have a lot of students that are high school aged and up. So some of the rites of passages, like voting, are things that are happening for some of our students. And so we started talking about how you would work on that, how you would work on voting. I mean, how can you simulate that? And so what we started doing was making surveys on SurveyMonkey, and then making polling places that the kids could go to. So this was what we did back in November of 2012. So this is what it looked like. That was election day. The kids had made all of the polling booths, for lack of a better word, and then the iPads were sitting there, and we had developed the ballots. So on each of the ballot, they voted for the president, and then they also voted on 2 referendum questions. At the time, it was would you rather have cake or ice cream at the Thanksgiving feast, or would you like students or teachers to perform at the winter assembly? So I'm sure you're dying to know what the results were. Well, I'll let you know in just a minute. But they filled out their voter registration ahead of time, which was really neat, and then they brought it to their polling place with their ID, and then they sat down and voted, and they all got "I voted" stickers afterwards, which was really cool and fun. We had 136 students vote that day, so turnout was high, and they voted for Barack Obama, 71% of the vote. They voted for cake, and they voted for students performing. So that was a big one. Timers. One of the things, I know I'm jumping around, but I just wanted to try to give you as much stuff as I could in a short amount of time. So timers. You can use your alarm clock on the iPad and program it to go off at all different times throughout the day. So once you get it started, it will be your timer for the whole day, which is really has been a neat thing. It's kind of infuriating on days where the staff is out and it's just us in the building and everybody's timers are going off around the building. You gotta find them and turn them off. But it is it's a cool function of the iPad. But there's also timers like, and this is our favorite, Visual Timer Free, Viz Timer Free, which actually gives a visible representation of the time going away. So that's kind of a neat thing for those kids that, what kid doesn't have executive function kind of issues going on, but it's kind of a neat way to organize your time. Video modeling and checklists. Model Me Going Places is a really great one, obviously. They do a lot of really cool things with going out into the community, different things that would happen in their lives, like going to the dentist or going to get a haircut, those sorts of things. Those all exist, easily found on iTunes. If you put in Model Me, it'll come right up. And most of them are free or less than $2. Video Scheduler, I believe that one is $12.99. It's one that we do use for a lot of tasks like washing tables or something like that. Something that you're going to task analyze into about 10 steps or even 5 steps. So you can go as few as 2. But what's neat about it is that it goes through the checklist of what the student's going to do, and it gives they'll click on the initial task, and it might have a picture of it and say like, get your bucket. So you click on it, it shows you what get your bucket looks like. So it's going to give you the video model of get your bucket. And then the kid will say done, and it blacks out that step so that they have to go to the next one. They can't keep going back to that one. Additionally, they can't move forward, so they can only do what's in front of them, which is really neat. I wish it would get rid of the steps ahead of it, but it doesn't do that, but at least it grays them out so that you can see that that's finished. So that's a good one. Impromptu is another one that I think that one's free. And what's neat about it is it does have different video modeling sequences already set up for you, like different things that you might need to do, cleaning or laundry or brushing your teeth or those sorts of things. It's good. It's just, the only thing is it's not customizable, so you have to like it the way it sits. But it's a good free app. So that's a good one. And then using your camera to make your own is really easy. What's neat, I'll show you how to do that really quickly, but what's neat with the newest update, even though I'm not a huge fan of the new iOS 7, one of the nice things about it is, I really hate my calendar now, and I still live and die by it. I'm like, I can't find, where am I supposed to be? I hate it. But you're able to start a new album, and you can make your own albums, and you can add pictures to it, and then you can use it as a checklist. It's free. So I'll show you how to do that. It's really easy. Okay. Conover apps for older students. Anything made by Conover is a really good deal. Some of them are kind of pricey, but almost all of them have a light version so that you can see the free stuff first. They have life skills, social skills, functional academics, survival science, community stuff. I mean, all kinds of stuff that you could possibly want. They have it, and it's pretty good. They're pretty good. So we have found that the kids have liked those, for what they are, and so they're worth checking out. Anything made by that company, you can generally stand by. Chore apps for doing chores at home. This is just a list of apps that we have found that have been really helpful for getting kids to do chores. Some at school, but some at home, and they're pretty easy to use. And it's neat because it's sort of like having a star chart on an iPad, but it's a visual representation, which is nice that they can take with them around anywhere they want to go. But they're all different prices, but these are typically the ones that when you think of tour apps, these are the ones that have been reviewed. And when you look at the website, there are little summaries of each of these so that you can check out what they do before you go and buy them. Okay, so let's take a look at a few of them. Let's see. Don't worry, I'll change my password.
No, you won't.
I won't, but I told you I did, so now I feel better about it. All right. So just to let you see really quickly what the Appo Learning app looks like, the only thing about this app that is a little bit annoying is that it will crash from time to time. So you do have to go back out. But it's so worth it that you kind of get over how annoying it can be. So like I said, if you click on the early childhood, see how it's a little touchy right now? It's huge. I mean, it's a huge app. So Appo Learning. It was the first one that we talked about. So you can scroll down and see, I'm going to choose one that's in the middle so that you can see it better. Okay, so you can scroll down and it's got all different kinds of apps. So let's say we were looking for something around autism. So you click on it and it gives you their favorite 5 apps for that age group. And then you can, the numbers are the ratings, obviously. So 96 was the one they liked the most. And Story Creator made it, yeah. Because that's a good one. But, so you go to school writing, let's say. It tells you how much it is, it tells you why the teachers, or why the researchers loved it, what it teaches and how it works, why the kids won't be able to put it down. And then it also, on that other side, lets you know things that you might need to know to make a decision about the app, which is kind of a cool thing. I have found this app to be invaluable. Whenever I'm looking for something, I always check here first. Apps Gone Free is the other one that I was telling you about. So I haven't been there today, so I don't know what's free. So we'll find out. And it does let you look at over several weeks ago as well. And sometimes that's just a tease because you get to see what was free and you didn't catch it, and now it's back to $8.99. You're like, man. But often, the ones that are there are still there a couple weeks later even. So, oh, Buy Me a Pie, classic grocery shopping list. So then you can go and check it out, and that's kind of cool. And then if you look at some of them, like, so you're able to look at all the different things that are available today, and they'll usually tell you what they are, like this is an education app, or this is a productivity app, or whatever. So it gives you at least a little snapshot about it, and then you can just take that over to Google and check it out a little bit more before you download it if you don't want to check it out as a free app. But when you go here, see, so this is one that was several weeks ago or several days ago, and you can see on the right-hand side how it's expired, so that one's no longer available. So that's how it works. It's kind of a neat one. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the most expensive app, $89.99. But like I said, the one that we're looking at today is the light version, so you'll get to see what it offers at this level.
Hi, I'm Max. Welcome to the Social Express. I'm on my way to pick up Zach, Emma, and Sunny to take them on another great adventure. I wonder where they'll want to go today. Here's Zach, Emma, and Sunny. Let me tell you some things about them. Zach loves playing video games and listening to music. He really likes science and vehicles. And his favorite food is corn dogs. Emma is a huge dog lover. She also likes history, art, and music. Her favorite food is chicken nuggets. Sunny is Emma's dog. Emma got her from the animal rescue.
Of course she
Sunny
does.
loves learning new tricks, playing fetch, and barking at hot air balloons. Zach, Emma, Sunny, and their friends are on an adventure to find the hidden social keys. Along the way, you can help them solve social problems, learn about feelings, and discover coping strategies so that everyone has a great time. Climb aboard the Social Express.
All right, so I want to get on. This is super cool. You can skip that if for some reason a student that you're working with might find that to be a little Thomas the Tank, or because it kind of reminds me of that. And so we've tried this with students who are tank lovers, and they do tend to be social express lovers as well. So there is, oddly enough, a correlation between them. Okay, so is that still okay in terms of volume, or is it now starting to be a little loud for you? Okay. I'm gonna turn down just a notch because I feel like I don't want to. Okay.
So is this one geared just mainly for younger kids, or do they have like different levels where it can be?
The 89.99 version goes a little deeper. But as you see with pretty much anything that you're using, it's probably geared for a certain age group, but can be used across age groups. So it's going to depend on how sensitive the person you're working with is to the presentation. But I'll show it to you. It has a far-reaching appeal. So I'll show you what it looks like. So, okay. Play lessons. So it has the ability to do, with this free version, only 2 levels. So it gives you the pretty basic level and then a little bit higher of a level. So we'll do the first level first. And I'll show you a couple things about it. So this one's called Pick the Feeling.
Uh-oh. Can you figure out how Emma is feeling about losing her ice cream?
Okay, what's nice about it is, so let's say we think she's happy.
Look at Emma's face. Her mouth is turned down. She's frowning, not smiling. Can you try again?
So it prompts you, to look at the body language.
Yes. Emma's sad that her ice cream fell. You can tell she's sad because she's frowning. Her eyes are squinting and her shoulders are slouching.
So that might not be appealing to someone, but this one would be.
All right, I got to level 10.
So,
Can you figure out how
it's kind of
Sam
differentiated.
feels about getting to level 10?
So you go through different things like that. Now here's another thing you can do. Right now I have teaching tips turned off, but you can turn teaching tips on. And what it will do here, so let's say he's happy about it.
Yes, Sam is happy about getting to level 10. You can tell he's happy because he's smiling. His eyes are wide open and his body is relaxed.
Oh no, my balloon!
Can you figure out how Katie feels about losing her balloon?
For some reason, it's not showing you the tips at all here.
Look at Kate. Her face is red. She's
Okay,
shaking
so you
her
get the idea on this one. Let me go to another lesson so that I can show you the teaching tips. For some reason, it wouldn't change mid. The teaching tips will sort of cue the teacher to ask specific questions about it. I find it to be a little annoying, but some people really like it. So let's take a look at this. Okay, so there it is. So it's already interrupting you, so that's why I don't like it. So it's kind of, telling you what to do. But this is nice if you're working in a classroom where you're the teacher and you have lots of paraprofessionals working with you that might not have the experience that you have with teaching social skills or things like that, or perspective taking, or those sorts of things. So it sort of cues the person what kinds of questions or what kinds of activities you're looking to do. I'm going to turn it off so that it's not annoying to us while we're doing this.
This game, but this level is too hard.
Oh man, you're not kidding.
I can't believe how many enemies there are. Get the guy over there. Yes, I got him.
Sam, that was excellent.
Hey guys, my new dog just learned a new trick. It's really amazing. She can jump through a hoop.
Hey, there's a power-up.
If you get it, will you finally beat this level?
Listen to me.
Uh-oh. It looks like Emma's about to have a meltdown. Can you help her?
Okay, so it gives you lots of options. Obviously, it gives you the option of hurting the other kid. But what's neat is that when you pick the wrong one, it's not chastising. It just sort of redirects you nicely to the right one. But let's choose this one just for time's sake.
How does Emma feel? Pick the face that shows how she feels.
Okay, so then you click through. I'd say she's pretty mad.
Great choice. Emma's mad. Now pick a coping strategy to help Emma
So it's
calm
kind of
down.
nice. With the paid-for version, you can add your own coping strategies to it, but the ones that are here really are the common ones we give them. But like I said, you can customize it when you pay for it, and you would hope so at that price.
How
So,
far the customization goes in this?
you can customize
I
it
love this
pretty
game, but this
pretty
level's
far,
too
so you can
hard.
make it be exactly what you want it to be. If
So
you
can
check
change
out,
the story.
you can't change the story, but you can change the level of what it lets you do. So you can differentiate it within it. If you go to the website, they actually have their own website. It'll show you just the exact level of differentiation. I have found it to be really worthwhile for students that really are hard to reach with that stuff. In terms of, a lot of the, like I said, a lot of the kids that really like Thomas and that sort of thing, it's been kind of hard to be concrete about some of those things, but when you put it in this format, for whatever reason, they've been really receptive to it. Okay, so I'm going to show you the one that's my favorite, Sash. All right, so you have to bear with me because I have to do this sideways. It shows on mine sideways, but on yours straight up, so it might be a little weird. Okay, so it has lots of different areas, as you can see. So this is the interface that they deal with, and under each one of these little webbed things, there's items. So let's start with Relate. Under Relate, you have your own dictionary of commonly used phrases, things that people say that are, odd. Idioms, colloquialisms, that sort of thing. Talking strategies. This is kind of cool. So this gives you, so for eye contact, it kind of gives you ideas of what you can do to improve your eye contact and what eye contact is, and then you're able to practice it using the camera. So on each page, it sort of gives you all of the tools that you need to do whatever the activity is that's there. So that's just one of them. There's one that talks about speech rate, and you can practice all of that. There's lots of different things. Turn taking, asking different questions, and all of it prompts you to use different things either within the program or on your iPad to practice those skills, which is really cool. Okay, first impression. So you're meeting me for the first time. You might want to take some notes about me. So you could add a picture of me if the person was fine with you taking a picture. You could have my phone number there, my email. You can talk about where you met me, what my interests are, and then this is what we discussed, we talked about iPads, and then you can write notes to yourself, like remember to email me about hanging out, or something that you found interesting about me or whatever that you'd like to keep track of when you meet someone. Common ground goes a little step further. So here's where you might list what your interests are. So I like to talk about autism and iPads and Kennedy Krieger school students, and that's pretty much it. I don't really talk about much more than that, so I was pretty thorough there. But when you meet someone else, you can list what their interests are. So let's say you talked about TGI Fridays the whole time we were together. So I wrote TGI Fridays here. Later I can click on that TGI Fridays and it will take me to TGI Fridays website and I can learn more about it so that the next time I talk to you, I can talk about TGI Fridays with you, which is really neat. And then you can also link that back to your talking strategies where I'm keeping, notes on you. It's a little creepy, but it's a good strategy. It is a little creepy, I'm not gonna lie. It kind of freaks me out a little, but it is cool. Okay, so that's that. Out and about. What's cool about this one is, you always have those kiddos that have a hard time getting themselves to go somewhere. There's some reason that they're concerned about going here or there. So this one kind of takes a look at that. So I'm feeling, and you can customize all of this, so I'm feeling whatever about going to this place. So I don't want to do this because I'm afraid of it. But if I go here, and then you can sort of talk about what might happen if you wind up doing those things, you might end up feeling happy. It's kind of a, or might end up feeling however. It's kind of a neat way to process through that visually. And explore, what's neat about this is, especially for older students, it learns your interests because you've put them in there. So then it will give you options of places near you that are things that you would be interested in doing. So that you're able to sort of get out of the house and do some other things that might be kind of fun for you. So that's a good one. Okay, I think we hit all of those. All right, so now we'll go to relax. This one's a cool one. What helps? So when I'm upset, I can, and then you can make these can be very customized, obviously. So I said I liked going to the park. For whatever reason, last night it didn't save my words, but it would say go to the park there. And then you can take pictures of that, and you can make lots of different files. It doesn't have to just be when I'm upset. It can be when I'm, feeling out of control or whatever your situation is, and then you can have a list of things that you could do. The shredder, this is a favorite. So you type your negative thought here, like nervous, whoops, sorry, typing sideways. Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, so I'm nervous, whatever. I'm nervous about whatever. And I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm just nervous. Why is it not doing it? Okay. Now, I can get rid of it. And they love that. Okay, blackout. We've had a lot of students over the years that have needed either some sort of white noise, or we've been out in the community somewhere and we've heard, like I had a student that really did not enjoy Christmas music and had a really hard time with it. And so when we would go somewhere and would have it would just show up, obviously from November on, anywhere you go, you're gonna run into it. She would need to hear something to cancel that out. So this is kind of a neat way to use some different some sounds that might be appealing, but also you can customize it and make it your own song as well. So, and then it just plays that so that you can kind of hear that and focus only on that. Okay, deep breathing. It prompts you to do the breathing strategy.